We'll go now to the Buffalo Bills versus the Denver Broncos, 31-7. Damn. I actually picked this as my upset. Should have went with the Houston LA game as my upset, but hey.
Hey, we're all geniuses after the fact, man.
No doubt. But I thought that the Denver defense would have been able to slow down this offense just a little bit more than it did. All that being said, it's still a 10-7 game at halftime. Denver misses about a 50-yarder there right before half, but still 10-7 football game. Bo Nix starts the game off with an absolute bomb there to Franklin for a beautiful throw and catch. I want to say that was close to maybe 50 yards or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it was about 50.
Yeah,
easy.
right? It was 43. 43 is what it is.
Well, the touchdown, I meant how far the ball was in the air.
Oh, yeah. Probably, yeah. So, but all that being said, man, I guess the main focus is, well, we'll start with Denver. Good season for them. Finished 10-7, rookie quarterback, Sean Payton and Bo Nix. It's a good match. It's going to be a good match going forward. They did a lot of good things. They're a field goal away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead with the rookie quarterback. So there's a lot to like. The defense is talented. Vance Joseph and how he called it and what they did really caused a lot of havoc throughout the football season. So good things for them. Big Phil, do you want to add any other thoughts too, just like the Denver conversation for right now?
Oh, yeah. I think there was a little part of me that was a little disappointed that they didn't attack more.
Yeah.
And, listen, Sean Payton was trying his best. And I thought it went well for him a while just to manage the game and try to keep it close and try to find a way to steal the game late. That's what I'm sure that's exactly what they were thinking. Mm-hmm. But as I say that about them, I thought Bo Nix overall, he played well in the game. It was nothing special, but they didn't attack like we've seen them attack everybody during the regular season. And then also the other thing is I'll go to Buffalo. They were methodical. They never panicked. I watched all the Josh Allen throws, and he was very careful with the football. Of course, the great throw in the back of the end zone that really turned the game around was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
I think it was to Ty Johnson. Is that right?
That's right. So, yeah. On a 4th and 3 situation right there. So that really, I think, was the backbreaker for the Denver Broncos. That specific play.
And Denver all year has kind of stopped the run pretty well, and Buffalo just crushed them with it. And so it's that part kind of surprised me. I thought Denver would really challenge them to beat them throwing the football.
Right.
Good pass rush, some good cover guys, that kind of thing. But it didn't turn out that way. It was really a methodical, didn't have to show a lot of what we really want to do for the Buffalo Bills. Maybe once they realized they were going to win the game, it was all about thinking about Baltimore from there.
Right. And James Cook, he was I know we always talk about Josh Allen, but just if they can run the football the way they did with James Cook, 23 carries for 120 and a touchdown, I think it helps their offense that much more because it just makes it that much easier for Josh Allen to kind of feed off some of those plays instead of it being the other way around usually. And then, of course, like Lamar and like Baltimore, his ability to scramble, get cheap yards in passing situations, to have some designed runs as well. And it's really just another example of they got stars at key positions, but they're doing a great job of just feeding those stars and getting them opportunities in key situations over and over and over again and being aggressive. And, one of the other highlights, right? James Cook, of course, but Curtis Samuel, his 55-yard touchdown, he looked fast on the field, cutting back across the field and getting in there for the end zone. That was awesome. We know how good Khalil Shakir is and kind of his go-to guy. Dalton Kincaid made a fantastic catch over the shoulder on a really well-designed play in the playoffs. And that's the other thing, right? Joe Brady, really good job of game plan specific play designs to go after the Denver Broncos and really caught them in man coverage a few times where they had advantages. And this is one where Dalton Kincaid's faking like a deep over route, puts the brake on, goes back to the opposite pylon across the field, and Josh just dropped into the bucket perfectly. But taking advantage and calling plays aggressively against the team that's trying to play man, trying to be in your face, and those things pay off. And then on the other side of it, Matt Milano being back, Terrell Bernard being back, right? And Taron Johnson, all these guys were hurt the first time around when they played the Baltimore Ravens. They'll be back and healthy and playing at a high level. I know Matt Milano might not be back to like his normal 100% self, but damn, he's still a good football player. So those guys really did a great job. And overall, just a really solid performance by the defense, playing fast. And I mean, big picture, big guy, like maybe we'll get into this later on, but just that, I guess, is the one concern I have for the Buffalo Bills is just the size and physicality of their defense at times.
Right.
Bend but don't break style, but damn, they play fast, and they're not really surprised by too many concepts as the game continues to go on.
No, they're not. They're very well coached on both sides. So we know that. And listen, you started out back when we first started talking. You said your overall thought about the playoffs was this: the bigger, stronger teams were dominating. And that's always been football. We constantly talk about, the quarterback, the receivers, this, that. Yeah. And, it's about, it's who's going to win the physical battle.
Right.
It's we got to get a quarterback. Here we go again. But it's the offensive line, defensive lines. And I'll say this too, real quick about Baltimore and, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. If they don't like the play, if it's not open to the degree, but they don't want to have to make great throws, we just move and buy some time and run or find out another way.
Right.
So they should not throw many interceptions because they have the ability to wait and get what they want. And, they run, both of them throw some, I guess you would call contested catches where it's tight. But overall, they're just like, I don't like it, let me move. Yeah. And it seems to be easy for them. And we'll see what each team has, in store for each other here as we get to the weekend. But, so Buffalo was great. Denver on the rise, coach, quarterback, a lot of good players on defense. They got to feel good about what they did this past season.
And just to do a little homework before we transition to the next game, BetOnline continues to be the world's best, most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is the ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds from everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, to the NHL, UFC. BetOnline is the number one sports betting source of the new year. From touchdowns to three-pointers to hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Big Phil, the next football game that we're going to be reviewing is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
Man, first of all, I just want to think, did Green Bay recover the opening kickoff where they fumbled? Did they get the recovery? I know that the refs obviously called it for Philadelphia, but after watching the replay and seeing it 1,000 times now at this point, it seems to me that Nixon, who fumbles the football after being hit really damn hard, does come out of that pile for a second with the football in his hands and down by contact on the ground. What are your thoughts on that play?
I'm thinking like you, just exactly. And, man, I don't know. Sometimes college football, pro football, we just some of the plays, the calls. I'm not even going to get on this one in that game, but we see Matt Stafford. He threw the ball when he's going to the ground and he took it. Oh my God. I don't know, but it's a big call to make early in the game. They didn't make it. And there's always a few calls every game that I want to gripe about, Matt, but play, you know what? When it happens early in the game, I always go, well, no matter what, you have time to overcome it.
Right.
And so it didn't bother me probably as much as it did you. I'll say this. So I'll go through the game real quick.
Yeah, go.
Philadelphia's defense overall was spectacular.
Right.
They were all over everything that Green Bay was trying to do. Mm-hmm. They covered them. They got pressure. I mean, hell, I can't tell you how many times I had to write down, who the hell is that just got a sack? Who did that? I mean, they got guys, it's unbelievable. Yeah. They got some vets that are great, and they got a plethora. Well, I never have said that word properly. A plethora of young guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the 2 rookie DBs, give me a break.
I know.
Oh my God. Mitchell, shoot, he's going to be a damn star. I mean, we don't see many of these corners now that can just go, I'll take him. Don't worry about anything else.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to turn into one of those. I mean, and Slay still got it. Still, boy, he played really well in the game.
Yep.
And they were all over Green Bay. Really, believe it or not, Jordan Love was not good, of course, in a lot of areas. He took some chances late in the game that, the numbers don't look great. Right. But I'll say this is contradictory. Physically throwing the ball, just the throwing, it was the first time that I saw him really step into some throws and really let it go.
Right.
And the only problem was it was coming out of his hand really well. He was throwing exactly where he wanted it, but the Eagles were just all over too many of those throws.
Yeah.
And the other thing, Matt, they're great at. So here you're on the right side of the offense and you're going to run across the field and you're beating your guy. He's trailing, you got him. And then all of a sudden you throw the ball and you go, oh, somebody from the other side's watching me. I mean, they had a lot of those plays. So the story of the game to me, everybody, oh, what about Jalen Hurts, Phil? What do you think? And I go, I think he managed the game great. He knew what was going on. I'm sure the coach goes, hey, Jalen, we're whooping their ass. So let's don't get too aggressive over there. And I thought he was, when he had a chance, he made some good throws. He was careful with the football. But the defense of the Eagles, I thought it was borderline spectacular.
Yeah, they definitely were the stars of it. And even a guy that I feel like doesn't get enough credit, he only had 1 tackle in the game, but played very disruptive in the football. Milton Williams, number 93. He played absolutely phenomenal. And unfortunately for him, Nolan Smith, he cleaned up a lot of the havoc that he created. Now, Nolan did a lot of creating on his own there with his speed and just how he plays. But him, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, Nolan Smith, it was ridiculous with how much athleticism, power, size, speed that goes onto that defensive line. Zach Bond is playing fantastic football. He's the one that intercepted an in cut that you were just talking about from Jordan Love.
That was really a good play.
Just read it the whole way. Saw it the whole way too. And he even said too, I did an interview with him after the game on Sirius XM NFL radio. And he was just like, yeah, like that's the play that you dream about right there, man. Like that's the one. So it was pretty cool. But you're right. The secondary is fantastic. Blankenship, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Darius Slay. I mean, those guys were flying all over the field. The one thing that's a little disappointing for the Eagles coming out of this game was Nakobe Dean going out and hurting his knee. And now he's out. Oren Burks came in to replace him, played pretty well. I think he got like 5 or 6 tackles in the football game, but Nakobe Dean, along with Nolan Smith, were 2 guys that I think were really starting to kind of peak as pros. And that's one of the small little pebbles in the shoe right now with the Philadelphia Eagles with that loss of Nakobe Dean.
Well, there was a guy, I'm watching the Eagles, I'm watching their defense. I go, who the hell is this guy? And I think number 58. How come I don't know who it is? It was in his name. It's Hunt. And hell, I look at their depth chart all the time, and I don't ever remember seeing him. But there he is on the end playing defensive end, whatever. And I go, damn, he looks great. Yeah. So the Eagles, the thing about the Eagles, they have spaced this team out to a certain degree. And of course, we didn't get into their offensive line, how unbelievable they can be.
No doubt.
My gosh. But they're built for now. They're built for next year. They're built for the next 4 or 5 years, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, unless something really unusual happens to that football team, they are going to be a part of this conversation for a lot of young guys, the middle-aged vets, and then, older vets. They got everything on that team.
Yeah.
And I think they have a great understanding with the new coordinators and everything about who they are and what to do. Mm-hmm. And it is true. Bill Cowher used to say this to me about Vic Fangio, which I've told you before. He goes, when you're teaching all this stuff, it takes a while to get it because teaching zones is harder than teaching man-to-man. And now the Eagles, man, Vic Fangio, he's got the magic wand. It's better than I've ever seen it. So we'll see. I think they're a Super Bowl football team, and we'll see if they can get there.
Yeah, the offensive line is absolutely tremendous. There was multiple plays where Jalen Hurts has 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw the football, and even on some of those, he scrambled and just trying to protect himself too, just slid and kind of took a loss or threw the football away. So he managed the football game the way that it needed to be managed. Dallas Goedert, that screen pass that they checked to at the line of scrimmage, the little tight end screen. First of all, the catch. I don't think anybody gives him any credit for the catch. The catch where he literally pirouettes and catches the football behind the line of scrimmage, 360 spinning around, and then to turn around and to stiff arm the defender 3 different times in the play. That was a super special play. And then late in the game, Saquon Barkley, the offense, the offensive line, just kind of continuing to lean on the Green Bay Packers. He definitely could have ran that last run there for much more of a gain than he did, but he still ended the day with 25 carries for 119 yards. So that just kind of shows you that they're tough to beat, just with the fact that they just can keep leaning on you with all 3 phases of their football team.
Philadelphia won the game with basic stuff, really, on both sides of the football. Right. But as they play, and I don't want to say when the competition gets better, but they called it to play the way they did, and it worked out exactly I'm sure how they hoped it would.
Yeah.
But if they got to push the pedal to the metal, they can do that. They're creative enough on both sides. They just don't have to show it all the time.
Yeah.
And there's not many teams. There's maybe 1 or 2 in the whole league that can be in that kind of situation. And like you said, you started, man, they're big. They got speed. Oh, my gosh. They're loaded. They got depth. The Eagles, they got a lot of good stuff. So we'll see where it goes.
And it goes back to the discussion we had with the Pittsburgh Steelers earlier in the show is, all right, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're doing simple things, but they're most definitely a more talented football team on both fronts. What they're asking their quarterback position to do, the receiver unit, the running back unit, the linebackers, the D-line, the secondary. So they can get away with this style of play because in every tier of their football team, they have the Johnnies and Joes to get it done. And
they do.
And like you said, they do have the ability to do more than what they're showing and to put defenses in binds that way.
Let me talk about that. No, hold on.
Go ahead.
A.J. Brown reading the book on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. Well, today's modern player, you just can't say anything. Oh, come on. Man, I tell you. And Nick Sirianni goes, well, guys have different ways. I mean, he did a great job of working through it without ever creating a problem.
Right.
But, oh, come on, man. I mean, come on. God, get over it, guys. And I know it's a new age and I know all that crap. Oh, I'm old school. Well, man, just because you're doing something now doesn't mean old school's wrong. It's unbelievable. It really is. First off, did he have the book sitting there somewhere in case this happened?
What's your point, though? You don't like it, or you do like it, or you just don't care?
I hate it so much. But we got to let it go. Why create a stir? Listen, he was just relaxing. Oh, I hate it, man. Well, who likes it? Somebody tells me I like it, I would just go, man, shut up. I don't want to hear you. Come on. Come on.
From the generation that was smoking cigarettes in the locker room at halftime, yes.
Well, I wasn't smoking. So that was only for the first year. After that, we cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hate that. Well, today's were these guys. Hey, it's whatever you set for the team. What parameters do we have? And that tells you a lot. So,
right.
But I'll give Nick Sirianni this. He did the right thing. Let's don't get into this and create any kind of sideshow for the football team. And he kind of passed it off. So I know, but I had to talk about it.
Okay.
So I feel better.
All right, good. I'm glad you feel better. Good. All right,
so
now
I feel better. Let's go.
Commanders, Buccaneers.
Yeah.
This game, man, this was awesome. It was fun. Really enjoyed watching both quarterbacks play. I thought both
really well played.
Very high level. I think both coordinators called good games. I think both defensive coordinators did as best as they can to limit some of the things that they were doing, and for the most part, did a good job of that. To go, I guess let's start with the Bucs, right? The losing team. The Bucs, I think, had a good game plan. Bucky Irving played well in this football game. Mike Evans was absolutely just tearing up Marcus Lattimore and the secondary there.
Wow.
But it all kind of got jump started with Baker's scramble there right before half for 18 yards and just trying to truck people, which I love. He's finishing runs. He's not looking to slide. He's looking to hit people.
Yep.
But yeah, that big picture, just the Bucs did a really good job of getting themselves back in the football game because Washington in the first half did an absolutely phenomenal job of just keeping ball control and time of possession in their favor in the first half. I want to say the Bucs maybe only had 3 possessions in the first half, and it was because the Washington Commanders did a great job of being ultra aggressive, going for it on fourth downs, and keeping the football out of their hands. Let me see, the 1, 2, 3. So they had 4, but they had a 3 and out and a 6-play drive too. So they really didn't have the football for that long other than their 2-minute drill at the end of half.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about this game. That was a quick watch for me. I was frustrated as a fan sitting there watching it going, wow, the game is going so fast.
Right.
Every time I looked up the clock, 3 minutes were gone. And I was like, man, I want to see more. I kind of wanted for a while. I wish this thing could go into overtime just so. But I thought that I'll go to this and I'm making it simple. I hate to always do this, but I thought the quarterbacks both played really, really well. Right. And it's a shame Baker had that fumble and that collision or whatever. The timing of the play that was, of course, huge in the game
for sure.
But man, there was a lot of good in it, and the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, they're the team. Their offense and their skill is suited to go for fourth downs.
Right.
Quarterback can really throw. He's really accurate. He can make all the throws. They got enough skill guys. And, of course, the big thing is he's slick as hell running the football. Mm-hmm. And every time I watched him at LSU, I loved him in college.
Yeah.
And I said, man, is he going to be just like this in the pros? I know it's not going to be just like, but damn, it's really close. And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And I think all year long I keep going, well, they'll get the hang of who he is and they'll start stopping him, but I haven't seen it.
Right.
And
the truth is that he's a good runner. He's not breaking off 70-yard runs like he was in college.
Not like he did, yeah.
He's getting first downs. He's keeping drives alive. He's making it stressful for the defense because you have to prepare for those specific games. Run play in the game. And he's a deadly accurate quarterback. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. His throwing motion, his technique, really simple.
Beautiful.
Tight motion, compact, gets the football out of his hands quickly. His throw to De'Ami Brown over the middle there at the end of the game there on third down was absolutely phenomenal. Just a deep dagger in cut on the spot, in rhythm, on the money. And that's kind of, I feel like, one of their key signature football plays. He throws in cuts as well as anybody in the NFL. And Cliff Kingsbury doing a really good job of finding those opportunities for him consistently. The over-the-shoulder throw to Terry McLaurin. I mean, you can't throw it any better than that. I mean, so his accuracy is absolutely just fantastic. And Austin Eckler being healthy now for it's his second week back, maybe second or third week back. Yeah. And just we heard it on the call during the game, but they do feel that much more confident as an offense with him on the field and being able to do some of those other extra things in their playbook that he can do along with Brian Robinson's, physicality in the running game. So big picture wise, Commanders played a great game. And Austin Eckler even said after the game, we were going for it on fourth down. There was no secret. And I think when we go back and forth with that debate, sometimes it's good to take the points, not be aggressive, all that. But I think the one thing that we're forgetting, and I'm sure what Dan Quinn's doing a great job reminding the Commanders, is when you make the claim that, hey, we're going for it, this is the game plan, we're not going to hesitate. I think it takes away from a little bit of that down feeling of not converting, We're just being like, okay, we didn't convert. All right, we were doing it anyway. It didn't matter. All right, let's keep the game going. Versus teams that don't do it often, go for it on fourth. They miss the opportunity. It's a little bit more devastating mentally to them just because it's not necessarily in their nature all the time.
Well, they have the talent, the scheme, and all that, where going for it makes a lot more sense than it does a lot of teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
And let me say this about Austin Eckler. He's a really good football player.
Right.
He's a football player. There's a certain energy that he has too. Off the field, on the field, he's tough as hell. He's everything you'd want when you go out there and look for guys that can kind of change your team. He does it in many, many ways.
Right.
And, listen, I tell you, I'm sure the Chargers wish they could still have him because he would be, but it's about money always, or it has to be, and that's fine. But he found a nice spot there in Washington.
Yep, and credit to Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders franchise. Just amazing what coaching can do for this franchise and how much it's changed in just 1 year. Bobby Wagner with the recovery is, that was huge. And it's a missed opportunity too, big picture for Baker and them, because I think Jalen McMillan had space to run there at the end. The one play that I think nobody talks about from this football game that to me was huge, 3rd and 1 situation. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the line of scrimmage. It looks like they're trying to draw them off sides and maybe then do something else or call a timeout. I'm not sure exactly what the plan was, but Bart in the center snaps the football randomly. No one on the Buccaneers offense is prepared for it, even Baker. Luckily, he actually was prepared for the snap. They hand the ball to Bucky Irvin for a loss of 2 yards. They end up settling for a field goal there. But you kind of like to think that in that 3rd and 1 situation, if they were going to call a timeout or whatever, that they were going to potentially convert that one because they were rolling offensively at that moment on that drive. So that was a huge play that I think kind of goes overlooked.
2 plays, that play and the Baker's fumble, whatever, but the missed timing. And, those are things you don't expect. And, of course, you don't expect them. But it also shows you how close the game was.
Yep.
Without them, those 2 mistakes, they probably win, but they made them. And it just shows you how you really got to be on top of everything. And when we talk about playoff football, and because it's this, when you lose, it's over. It's not like, next week we'll get it rocking again.
Yeah.
That's the tough part about it.
Yeah.
Let's get on to this other game that just was a beauty.
All right, Minnesota Vikings versus Los Angeles Rams. Yeah.
I'm a fan now, man. I'm like, come on, entertain me. And, right from the start, I'm going, I've seen this movie before. Where was that? Oh.
Where was it?
The week before. Oh, my gosh. It was unbelievable, really. I'm still kind of trying to figure out, as I watch the Minnesota Vikings all year and Sam Darnold and their whole team, and how it just – these 2 games, like truly, and I'm not the guy that does this. This is for, I gripe and moan about other people that do this. It changed everything I've thought about them, almost washed away the whole year for the Minnesota Vikings because it unraveled so bad.
Right.
And really in every aspect. And don't tell me the defense played great either, so they just never could make the tremendous impact on the game that maybe I expected at times. But, man, to me, that's the whole story for me, is that just watching the last 2 weeks and seeing the Minnesota Vikings going to, they have to go back in the lab and kind of fix a few things and decide how they want to play some of these games. I don't know, Matt. That game, it was unbelievable against the Rams. I give the Rams credit. They played well in on many areas. The defense, I know, Matt Stafford was sharp, and Cooper. The only thing you look at, Cooper Kupp didn't really show his skill in the game, whatever. But man, it was. I can't imagine. And I'm listening to the game, Troy and Joe Buck. They're sitting there going, "Wow, what the hell's going on here?" So I don't know. That's really all I got to say about the game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you just look at the stats of Sam Darnold, it's 25 of 40 for 245, a touchdown and interception. You could say, he probably had a decent day. Then you see the 9 sacks. But you also just, when you're watching the game and you see it, and you watch the tape, just indecisive, uncomfortable. there's no doubt that I thought the Los Angeles Rams defensive line kicked the crap out of the Minnesota Vikings offensive line in this football game.
Right.
Big picture, Sam just did not play good football. He didn't, and that's the truth of it. And there was a few opportunities that were there that were presented, didn't really trust it, didn't pull the trigger in rhythm and time. A little late or frantic to getting to second and third reads in certain plays, which is crazy too, because just 3 or 4 weeks before that, we were talking about how he is getting through his reads and how he's moving better in the pocket than anybody in the league. And yet these last 2 weeks, you're right, it really truly has unraveled. And even the scramble that he had in the football game where he ran it for 19 yards or 17 yards, something like that.
Right.
But he's got Justin Jefferson wide open over the middle on a deep cross. If Justin Jefferson catches this football, it's going to be a catch and run for probably a gain of 40. And that's just kind of the theme of the day. He just missed opportunities. Then it just started to compile after that with the physicality of the Los Angeles Rams defense. And credit to Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, like you were saying, very aggressive with their play action passing on first and second down, getting in run sets, heavy play action, set them up throws, find the soft spot in the zone, and then let Matt Stafford just absolutely cut it loose and rip it in there between two defenders. And he did that consistently throughout the football game. And once they had control, they kind of backed off a little bit.
No doubt.
But it was really interesting, their approach to trying to neutralize Flores and that defense and how they played. And Sean McVay did exactly what Ben Johnson did, I think, in a lot of ways, with how he called the game and how he dissected them that way as well, without maybe as impressive of a running game as Ben Johnson. But Kyron Williams had a solid day, 16 for 76 yards, longest 17. Man, got lucky, 2 close calls on fumbles that were huge. And then, of course, I think the other play to debate, or I want to hear your opinion on, is the flip by Matt Stafford, where he's throwing the football to Puka Nacua, or flipping it to Puka Nacua as he's basically got his head in the sand as he's getting tackled for a sack. Blake Cashman picks it up, returns it for a touchdown. That would have made it a 10-10 football game at the time. Your thoughts on that play, and what do you think about it going forward, I guess?
Well, listen, it took me 7 replays before I could see where the running back or whatever they said was in the area.
Right.
Somebody point him out.
Puka Nacua was there. He was just on the ground. He was getting hit.
Oh, well, was it? It was unbelievable. And I watched the game twice and still couldn't. Honestly, it's something they're going to have to look at. And the NFL is great at this. The one thing about the league, we all complain a little bit about the NFL at times, but they take situations like this and they're going to do what's best for football in the game.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So they're going to say, hey, no, we're done with this. You're falling to the ground and you get rid of the football and there's a guy 20 yards away. He's in the area. But so I don't know. It's I was unhappy with the call, I guess. Right. And they'll fix it during the offseason, but the grand scheme, even though it made it 10-10, if they kept that play alive. Here, I got a special guest here for a second. Oh, no, who's that? He wants to be on TV. But, so it didn't matter what happened. The Minnesota Vikings were going to lose that game against the Rams. Yeah. And my last thing about that, I love the Rams starting the game. Did what? Under center, play action passes. He had tremendous space to throw the football in. And Matt Stafford, you gave him that kind of time, he crushes it. What are you going to say, Matt?
No doubt. Love my little boy.
Oh,
my little boy.
Yeah. What are you doing, boy?
All right. Well, that's all we got for Sims Complete today. Good job, Big Phil. You the man. We'll talk more about the matchups for the playoffs going forward. We're actually going to record again tomorrow, so we'll talk about some of those matchups there. Yeah, we got an interview with Joe Theismann coming up too, so that'll be exciting. Hear his thoughts on the Commanders, and of course, we'll hear some war stories from back in the day with you guys and his generation of the Redskins and Giants matchup.
Oh, Joe's a great dude. He's very funny. He's one of those guys. Like, I've worked with him enough. He'd come on the set with me. He goes, "Oh my God, please just leave me alone."
Yeah.
We would have so much fun. And so he still follows the Commanders. It's not only that, There's another team out there he's following close. That's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
all right. So yeah, we got a lot to talk to him about. Then it's a big.
Oh yeah, we got a lot. That's right. So
yeah.
it'll be good. Well, good job today, Matt, and everything. And
you too, Phil. You too. Great job. Great job.
I'll go make lunch for your son.
No, that's okay. I'll take care.
That's okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you, though.
All right, man.
It. All right. Sim's complete. That's all we got. We'll be back with more here
tomorrow.
soon. Yes, tomorrow. Well, the people who listen don't really care about that, but
I just want to know.
Yeah, I hear you. Tomorrow, we'll be back. All right. Sim's complete. That's all we got. He's Phil. I'm Matt. We'll see you next time.